Hello. Today we will be presenting on cognitive learning theory and how it explains the way learners process information. Cognitive learning theory focuses on what happens inside the learner's mind while learning takes place. Instead of only looking at the behavior, it explains how learners think, organize information, and connect new knowledge to what they already know. Understanding this helps educators support learning in more meaningful and effective ways. What is cognitive learning theory? Cognitive learning theory focuses on mental processes involved in learning. It explains that learners are not just receiving information, but actively thinking about what they are learning. Learners connect new ideas with their prior knowledge and use problem solving skills to better understand new material. This theory also explains that learners organize information into mental structures called schemas. These schemas help learners connect new information to what they already know, which makes learning more meaningful and easier to remember over time. Latent learning. Latent learning means that learning can happen even when there is no immediate reward or outcome. Sometimes learners gain knowledge without realizing it at the time. For example, students often learn the layout of their campus during the first weeks of school without trying to memorize it. Later, when they need to find a classroom or office, they are able to use that information. This shows that learning can happen through experience and observation. Insight learning. Insight learning happens when a learner suddenly understands how to solve a problem after thinking about it. Instead of learning through repetition, the learner mentally reorganizes information and reaches a solution. For example, a student might struggle with a difficult concept at first, but after reviewing their notes or thinking about it later, the idea suddenly makes sense. This shows how thinking plays an important role in learning. Information processing model. One important part of cognitive learning theory is the information processing model. This model explains how information moves through different stages of memory. First, information enters sensory memory through what we see and hear. Then, it moves into working memory, where learners begin thinking about the information. Finally, it can move into long-term memory where it is stored for later use. Understanding this process helps explain how learners remember information over time. Working memory. Working memory is where learning happens in the moment. It temporarily holds information while learners process and understand what they are learning. For example, when students listen to a lecture while taking notes, they are using working memory. Working memory also has different parts that help manage attention, process spoken information, and process visual information. Because working memory has limited capacity, it is important for instruction to be clear and organized. Long-term memory. Long-term memory stores information for longer periods of time. It includes different types of memory. Semantic memory includes facts and knowledge that learners remember from class. Episodic memory includes personal experiences. Procedural memory includes skills that learners develop over time. For example, remembering information from a lecture is semantic memory. Remembering the first day of class is episodic memory, and learning how to perform a skill is procedural memory. Encoding, storage, retrieval. Cognitive learning theory explains that learning depends on three important memory processes. Encoding happens when information first enters memory, storage happens when information is kept over time, retrieval happens when learners access information later when they need it. When these three steps work together, learners are able to better remember and apply what they have learned. Forgetting and review. The Ebbinghaus forgetting curve shows that forgetting naturally happens over time if information is not reviewed. However, reviewing information regularly helps strengthen memory. Making connections between ideas also improves recall. This is why strategies like reviewing notes, practicing questions, and spacing study time can support stronger long-term learning. Why cognitive learning theory matters. Cognitive learning theory is important because it helps educators understand how learners process and remember information. Strategies such as organizing information, connecting ideas to prior knowledge, and practicing retrieval help improve learning outcomes. For example, students often benefit from reviewing material regularly and using structured study strategies. Understanding how cognition works allows educators to design learning experiences that support deeper understanding and long-term learning. Thank you for exploring cognitive learning theory.